A Vtuber just released a 1,000-page Google document claiming to expose the full truth behind months of drama. Did she just reignite the fire, or is there actual proof? Today we dive deep. This is Sinder's 1,000-page doc. What's inside, what's real, and how the community is reacting. Before we dig in, you need context. Sinder has been at the centre of various controversies. Interpersonal disputes, accusations from other creators, leaked DMs, and community backlash. At one point, she went offline for months. Many felt her prior statements or apologies were incomplete or vague. The 1,000-page doc is her attempt to retell her side of the story in full, to reclaim control of the narrative, to respond to critics, and to show evidence in her favour. Whether she'll succeed or only reignite old wounds is what we'll examine. I will give you the itty bits of the Google Doc, and after watching this video, let me know what you think in the comments. And feel free to like and subscribe, thank you. Now, let's begin. In her public announcement, Sinder framed the doc clearly. The burden of proof is on the accuser, not the accused. They lied to you. Here's 1,000 pages of proof. That places the onus on her critics. You must rebut this massive evidence. According to observers, the document is heavily composed of screenshots of Discord DMs, Twitter posts, chat logs, interspersed with her commentary and narrative. But its structure raises questions. Much appears to be image dumps rather than tight narrative. Some argue she padded the length to overwhelm scrutiny. One Reddit user even said, 1,000 pages is a lot. Is there really 1,000 pages of worthwhile information to help her case here? Moreover, there are claims of internal contradictions. In earlier statements, she claimed to have fired or severed ties with her manager, yet in this doc, she admits ongoing involvement. The doc also leans into conspiracy framing, suggesting other creators conspired against her, misrepresented her, or manipulated narratives. That kind of framing demands especially strong sourcing. In short, it's part defense, part narrative control, part accusation counterattack. An overdue response is the first title of this paragraph, and after reading the introduction, Sinder felt blindsided by everything that transpired, and at the heat of the moment and possibly without thinking, she rushly put out a response to slowly dim out the fire that was against her head and went to sleep. And over some time, her and Red got together and drafted this document. If you don't know who Red is, let's say they're a friend and we will just keep it at that. But moving on, after reading a little deeper, we start to get into the important parts of the document. Sinder calls out 3 different VTubers by name, Nanolus, Shiley and Silvervale. All 3 of them are popular VTubers in their own right. Nanolus is getting accused of lying about the situation between Sinder and Red, and Shiley was lying from the very beginning. Silvervale just straight up lied about all their interactions together. Now will these accusations be solved with some evidence? Well, we will soon find out. Nanolus made a response about Sinder's doc over on her Discord server, which reads, "Hello everyone, I feel like my closest community deserves a bit of information on recent happenings. First of all, I'm sorry for bringing all this mess to the community. Honestly, it's all on my hands for posting it because I felt it was the right thing to do. Mostly to show what's happening on backstage of things. Now reading a little deeper, I concluded from everything that accountability, but for the method, not the message. Nanolus is apologising for causing public drama, not for the underlying facts of manipulation/slander. She believes going public was still the right thing to do, to expose the backstage reality. Accountability, but for the method, not the message. Nanolus is apologising for causing public drama, not for the underlying facts of manipulation/slander. She believes going public was still the right thing to do, to expose the backstage reality. This offers specific financial details and confirms her friends intervened. The low compensation $3,000 for an exclusive contract is likely very exploitative for an in-demand artist, strengthening the argument that Sinder/Red were trying to get something for nothing. But on Sinder's side, it partially validates Sinder's framing of the accusers publicising the drama. But Nanolus maintains that the subject matter of the backstage events was necessary to reveal. Sinder's document successfully exposed Nanolus's omission of the exclusivity offer. causing Nanolist to apologise for how her first document looks weird. The admission does not negate the core allegation that Sinder/Red attempted to use this proposal to blacklist Nanolist's other clients without fair compensation, which Nanolist maintains was the true issue. Let me know what you think down in the comments. That's just one paragraph and we have 5 more to go. Now moving on to Redacted. Let's read the introduction and then afterwards I will analyse this section and I will tell you what I think. Because there are several falsehoods, contradictions on this section, Red helped me put this entire document together. We want to be upfront and honest that this was a 2-person effort. His own commentary is present throughout it and is labelled as his and highlighted in blue. Red? Hello, I'm Red. I'm Cinder's longtime partner and have worked alongside her since she started this career. I helped her put this document together to set the record straight. Over the past few months, I've had to come to terms with being the reason why Cinder's image, her relationships, and her career were all ruined. I hurt people who were our friends. I fucked up and she had to answer to the world for it by herself. My actions ruined everything for her and I'm taking responsibility and helping her pick up the pieces. I didn't want to put something out sooner without her that could have made things worse. I ask that you don't hold what I did against her. Okay, so let me point at least one falsehood. In the first paragraph after the introduction, Cinder and Red claims, I'm choosing to have Red continue working with me. It's clear to me that he learned his own lesson from what happened. This is the most glaring inconsistency with her prior public statements and the general understanding of accountability. Her initial apology, which blamed Red and severed ties, was viewed as an act of public accountability. Reinstating him as her manager less than 6 months later suggests the firing was a performative action to manage public perception, not a genuine break from the individual responsible for the original misconduct. The claim of him learning his lesson is unprovable and irrelevant to the fact that her career was destroyed by his actions while he was her manager/partner. In her own Twitter post that Cinder herself is referencing, she writes, effective immediately. Redacted will no longer be managing or overseeing my Vtuber activities. He no longer represents me as a creator, my brand, or my intentions. I'm sorry, everyone. I will make a larger response when I'm able. All right, so the second falsehood comes around at the falling out section of this paragraph, which says, I was distraught and I posted that Red was fired later that morning. I wasn't trying to throw him under the bus and avoid accountability. I was blindsided by my friends publicly pointing the finger at me for his words and actions I didn't even know about and I didn't agree with. I didn't know what else to do. In my apology, I said, as of yesterday, he is no longer working with me. Me and I have not extensively discussed any of this with him. Because Red will continue working with me, I will be deleting this tweet sometime after posting this document, which goes over the Twitter post I referenced just a few moments ago. This is a highly convenient justification for the performative firing. It frames her decision as a panicked response under duress, not a responsible business decision. This directly contradicts the purpose of an apology. She is justifying why she lied, not apologizing for the lie itself. Contrast the claim of distraught panic with the long-term, calculated nature of the alleged misdeeds slander, blacklisting. The firing was a tactical move to distance herself from the liability, regardless of her emotional state. Within the same sentence where Cinder says, I wasn't trying to throw him under the buses and avoid accountability, this is a direct contradiction of the public consensus. Her original apology document, which stated, I was not fully aware of the extent of Red's manipulation, was almost universally seen as an attempt to deflect full responsibility by placing the blame on Red. This statement is an attempt to rewrite the historical perception of her first apology. Cinder's first apology document blamed Red. The consensus was that she did throw him under the bus to save herself. Reading Cinder's first apology, some of the words she says is, I want everyone to know I'm taking this seriously. After years of working on everything together, his hyper-business-oriented outlook warped my view of what it is I should be doing. And a statement claiming Nano had a project server we were all a part of where the actual art and models were worked on, but the conversations were focused around the work itself. I was not fully aware of the extent of Red's manipulation over Nano's commission decisions. So she indeed threw Red under the bus numerous times in her original apology document 6 months ago. There's a few other inconsistencies like Cinder's admission to cheating on Red years ago online. This is a classic poisoning the well tactic. She introduces a past, non-relevant personal failing, cheating to inoculate herself from present, more serious professional/ethical failings. This admission is entirely irrelevant to the core claims of professional manipulation. It's a deflection tactic designed to make the reader sympathise with their complicated relationship rather than focus on the business misconduct. But these inconsistencies compared to the allegations against the three Vtubers I named earlier on in this video are irrelevant. So let's, for the sake of my fried brain of reading all of these words already and my mental health, let's move on to the third paragraph. And if you like this video so far, please subscribe to the channel. And if you would like for me to analyse the last three sections, then please leave a comment down below. Thank you. Now it's time for my apology and taking accountability. This third section serves as the pivot point of the 1,000-page document. Sinder attempts to achieve controlled accountability by offering a long, detailed list of minor or recontextualized wrongs, while simultaneously retracting the most damaging claims she made in her first apology and laying the groundwork for her grand conspiracy theory. Just like last time, let's read the introduction and then I will analyze the entire section and I will give you my take afterwards. It reads, "Now that I've reviewed everything that happened and had time to reflect on my own actions, there are some details I need to point out and corrections I need to make from my apology. Then I'll go over the things Red or I, or both of us did wrong so we can take responsibility. Each section after this will explain the full story around each major individual involved, anything Red and I did, and defending ourselves against everything we didn't do. Quotes from my apology will be present throughout this document to show what they were in reference to. Screenshots that are directly of or taken from another document are highlighted with an orange border. Dates and important messages within any screenshots are highlighted in yellow. Quotes from my apology are highlighted in grey. Red's own comments on anything being presented are labelled and highlighted in blue. My key takeaways are: excuse the first, universally criticised apology by claiming she was under extreme duress, lacked information, and made things sound worse than they actually were. This is designed to reduce the severity of the initial admission of guilt. Directly retract the most damaging statement about Red. He did not manipulate Nano, and he did not push Nano to not work with Silvervale. This is crucial for her to justify taking him back as her partner/manager. One example is, and I quote, "The things I claimed and admitted to in my apology were based on what I knew at the time, what was published in everyone else's documents, and what Red told me right after. I shut him out when I shouldn't have. I made my apology without his help, without all of the info in front of me, and without knowing the full scope of what happened, how it happened, or what to believe. I was under extreme stress and pressure to say something as soon as I could and was expected to accept fault for everything I was accused of, but not guilty of doing. Some of the things I wrote were overly apologetic and I made things sound worse than they actually were because of the severity of the situation. This is a strategic excuse for her own dishonesty. She is essentially apologising for her apology. This is an inconsistency. Was she protecting herself then or now? The public consensus is that both apologies prioritise self-preservation. Another instance, I believe judging how Sinder and her boyfriend Red has been living together for a while before the first incident. There's no way she couldn't have known. Plausible deniability is stretched thin. Sinder lists multiple separate instances of Red/her discussing or acting on blacklisting other creators over an extended period January 2023 to April 2025. The sheer volume and consistency of Red's hidden actions makes Sinder's claim of total ignorance highly unbelievable for a partner who lives with and works side by side with her manager 24/7. In the near middle section here, I found another claim at which she says, "The majority of these actions happened in an 8-month span from August 2024 to April 2025. This is a strategic minimisation of the timeline. By limiting the scope of major actions to 8 months, she counters the public narrative of a years-long grand conspiracy. However, she immediately lists actions dating back to 2021 Neantails, 2022 Spite, and 2023 Spite/Giri, directly contradicting her own claim about the timeline. January 2023, Red asked Nano not to work with Spite and 2021 Nyan-Tails. These predate the August 2024 start date, she claims, for the majority of these actions. And my last contradiction I will state in this paragraph is that Red's justification for using we and our, the brand voice defense. Red's explanation that he used we and our to give his words weight and speak on the brand's behalf is a sophisticated yet self-serving rhetorical defense. The falsehood here is the implication that this usage was innocuous. In the context of slandering and blacklisting others, which he admits to doing, using we was a calculated tactic to imply Cinder's approval, weaponizing her name to manipulate artists like Nanolis. Cross-referencing with Nanolis's doc in the exclusivity and blacklisting other creators section. The screenshots demonstrate that Red's use of we was not merely an awkward way of speaking for the brand, but was instead utilized in messages that were clearly attempting to financially pressure and manipulate Nanolis to drop other clients for Cinder's benefit. Red's defense claims he used we to give his words weight as a manager. However, the screenshot where he offers a manipulative workaround confirms the malicious intent. We could do it like when redacted client asks for art. You tell her no, and then tell us to buy another art piece edited. Like so you still get a job from it. Red was ensuring Nanolis felt this was a shared, premeditated and serious directive from Cinder herself. This directly refutes Cinder's claim that Red was just struggling to find the right brand voice. Instead, the evidence suggests he was weaponizing Cinder's authority to justify unethical behavior for the brand's competitive gain, exactly as the accusers originally claimed. Alright, after reading the first 3 sections and having my brain feel like jelly, this is my summary so far, and let me know what you think. The opening sections of Cinder's 1,000-page document operate as a masterclass in controlled crisis communication, aiming to achieve plausible deniability while executing a complete blame shift onto the accusers. Based on the first 3 sections, Cinder's document is not a document of accountability, but of recontextualization and defense. It systematically attempts to dismantle the credibility of her accusers, excuse her own lack of oversight, and swap major ethical failings for minor personal faults. The strategic reunion with Red, coupled with the flimsy justification for his manipulative use of her brand, confirms that the central goal is to control the narrative and restore her public image without accepting full responsibility for the systematic and long-term abuse of trust that the original allegations detailed. This is just the beginning of Cinder's 1,000-page war on her former friends. The document is divided into multiple detailed sections for each person she is targeting: Nano, Bao, Shy Lily, Silvervale, and more. Did Cinder manage to twist the truth, or do her further explanations hold up? Click subscribe so you don't miss the next video, where we dive into Cinder's full breakdown of her relationships with Nanolis and Shy Lily.